All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Conscious Health Podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and I have here my great aunt, Debbie, with me. So, Debbie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Debbie Gibson. As TJ said, he's my nephew. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep. A good, solid, brief introduction. Today, Debbie, I just want to talk about really meditation and really just meditation and healing and how meditation helps us to be able to connect with source or God or the divine or whatever anyone wants to call it. And so I just have some questions here that we'll go over because this is something I know that me and you really like. And so I've been wanting to do this for a while. So Debbie, how long have you been practicing any types of healing or meditative modalities?
Wow. Okay. Well, I just turned 70 years old. So many years I've been practicing off and on, meditation and healing modalities. I actually started meditating, I don't know, 30 something years ago. I ended up in AA through alcohol and drug abuse. I went to a rehab, got acquainted with AA. One of their steps is sought through prayer and meditation to improve your conscious contact with God as you understand Him. So that's like wide open, right? It can be.
Yeah.
I heard one guy said it was a Coke bottle. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I started my meditation then. But what I need to tell you guys is that after I got into treatment, they found out that my liver was like in third stage of sclerosis of the liver. And that according to them, my liver could not regenerate. And so whilst I was now sober, I wasn't going to live, that was just the bottom line of that. And so I was like, well, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and, follow the AA protocols as they're laid out the best I can. And I had a sponsor who she meditated a lot. And I won't go into all of that, but so I'm like trying to meditate based on, several different things. And probably about, I don't know, a few months into me meditating, the best I can, as sincerely as I could, not really knowing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had an experience that literally almost blew me out of my lounge chair. I had energy just like come shooting up through my body. Everything got really vivid, lots of colors, images and all of that. Won't go into that. I came out of that experience not knowing what had happened. It's like, whoa, what is that? And my whole body was just vibrating. It vibrated for probably over a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so in talking to my sponsor and her guru, he was like very nonchalantly, oh, you've had a Kundalini experience. And I'm going, and what is that? Right? Okay. Don't know. Didn't know then. I just like, well, okay. And all I knew is that I had some kind of experience that leaves you knowing you're no longer in Kansas, right?
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, the next time I had a blood test to test my liver, it was healed.
Oh, wow.
100%. And so again, I'm like, okay. And it was an experience that I tried to talk to people about, and they just didn't know how to talk about it. And that's a very definition, like a mystical spiritual experience. It's like you try and talk about it, and all you can really do is use metaphor because you can't really describe it, right? It's like, well, this is what happened. It was kind of like this. It felt like that. And they're like, uh-huh. So, I just kind of like quit talking about it for years. And I meditated off and on like for a while. And then as life came up and things came up in my life, I stayed sober, by the way. I'm probably almost 8 years sober now.
Uh-huh.
But then I quit meditating. And then I did not start meditating again until it was July of 2020. I was in lockdown for COVID. A friend of mine had given me the book Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Dispenza.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Got nothing better to do, right? So I read it, and then I read it again, and then I read it again. And then, overall, I probably read that book 4 times. And in it, he describes various meditations and, how to start meditating. He outlined like 3 different kinds of meditations. And I thought, I've meditated before, and this I actually have instructions, right? And
Yeah.
so I sat down and again, nothing better to do, and locked down for a year and a half. I started meditating.
Mm-hmm.
And what's true is at the time, it probably saved my life again. A meditation, I think, has saved my life more than once because I was extremely depressed. I was suicidal. I had some chronic health issues. I had, back pain and all that. Before COVID, I kind of like lived at the chiropractor and, but, didn't want to go during COVID. So I started this, with like an attitude of what is there to do, really? And what I noticed is like I started off, like maybe 15 minutes a day, working up to 20, working up to 30, that kind of thing. What I started noticing at first is that, well, my back pain is getting less and less and less. And I thought, I'm not imagining this. Is this real? And I thought, well, what the heck? I just kept on going. And so literally, I don't have back pain now. And that,
Yeah.
so that was 2020. We're now in 2025. My next major kind of health challenge and what I'm actually doing is kind of consolidating some of your questions, but, we can
Uh-huh.
go into that later.
Yeah, you're good.
What I knew after reading that book 4 times and having some like things happen physically with my body, what I knew is I wanted to go see this guy. I wanted to go to one of his events. And so when they started opening things up, I went to a week-long advanced retreat in Cancun. And there, one of the things they do is when you sign up for registration and you get in, they go, hey, do you want to apply to be a healee? And you needed to have like a certified medical condition. Well, my thyroid was shot. My doctor had told me I had the worst thyroid he'd ever seen. And I was on massive doses of thyroid medication. And so I, did that. But I'm thinking, there are people out there with stage 4 cancer. Surely they're not going to choose me, because of a thyroid that can probably be dealt with over medication. But I got chosen, much to my surprise. And what I realized is they don't go, and we want you, and we want you, and we want you. They kind of throw it up to the universe, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was, one of the healees, which they 3 times during the week, they would have those that were chosen to be healees lay in the middle of a group of 8 people around them called cages. And then he would take everybody through a guided meditation that was to, help channel healing energy towards that person.
Yeah.
And I'm laying there going, okay, well, this is cool. Didn't feel a whole lot. I'm like, yeah, all right. Well, the moral to that story is, about 3 months later, I had my blood tested again. My thyroid was 1 degree outside of normal.
Wow.
And I threw away my thyroid medication and never looked back. So
That's
those
awesome.
are, a couple of my own personal experiences, that I've had that's, meditation related. I don't know how you want to describe that, but, because of that.
Yeah.
mystical, magical kind of thing that, it happened. It happened. I've got the
Mhm.
blood test to prove it.
Yeah.
So it says, how long have you been practicing any type of healing meditative modalities? Well, meditating, this most recently going on 5 years now.
Yeah. Wow.
But during my life, I'm a certified massage therapist for people and horses. I've studied acupressure. I've studied Reiki. But none of those things really prepared me for, what I've run up against here lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, you're a tough woman. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've only been, I mean, I guess compared to you, I've only been meditating a short time, but because I started back in, let's see, 2021 or 2022. I feel like it's been longer, but maybe that's it. Yeah, like I started like actually getting into a routine with meditation just a couple years ago, and I've already seen amazing stuff happen. I mean, especially when I've combined that with, I know you do more of the sober route. I've dabbled with psychedelics, meditation, and that's where I've seen a lot of my healing experiences, whether it be from dog allergies or from most recent was lactose intolerance. So
Yeah.
yeah, like, and I was just actually telling my dad about this morning. I was telling him about that story where I had taken some magic mushrooms and I was meditating, and I didn't have a goal to heal, to start producing what's called lactase again. Like I was just kind of hanging out, having a good time. I was just in that nice meditative state, and then I was about to drink like a protein shake, which is like, well, whey protein is just pure dairy. And so typically if I drank a protein shake with a lot of dairy without taking pills first, I'd be it wouldn't be fun for the next like 24 hours. But I was in this meditative state and I was about to drink this protein shake. And then I was like, and I was about, oh no, I was about to take the pill. And I was like, you know what? Like my body can do all these different processes, like billions of different things every day, every minute. I was like, but it can't produce one little enzyme. And so whatever story I'm telling myself in my head, there's something stopping that from being produced. And so then I was like, so I got rid of the pill. And I was like, you know what? I have my smoothie right here. And Tori, for those listening, Tori's my wife. She's watching me, and she's like, I remember her being surprised, like, wait, what are you doing? And I was like, it's like, no, like I really feel that my body can produce this enzyme. Get rid of any negative stories I have in my head about dairy or whatever it is that might be causing it. Because as far as I know, I wasn't born with lactose intolerance. It just kind of came up and about after time. So I figured it must be some thought in my head that's messing with my gut. And so I said, no, I'm going to just imagine what it's like to actually produce lactase. I'm going to have faith in my higher power that it'll make it work in my body. And I drink the whole protein shake without any pills. And since then, I haven't had any lactose intolerance issues. So it's like, I don't think I had a single fart out of me that day. So which is pretty spectacular for me and what I'd been dealing with up to that point. And so I don't know, it's just cool having those experiences. You have a firsthand experience or testimony that there is a source that you can connect to through meditation and through calming down your mind and getting in touch with your immune system and all that. So it's really cool. Let's see. I know I had the list of questions. So I guess in your own words, how would you describe a week-long Joe Dispenza experience or retreat?
You know how many people have asked me that? Because I've gone to 6 events so far. Once you go, I'm not going to say it's easy,
Uh-huh.
but because, self-development work, if you're really, 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 really doing it,
Yeah.
it's a lot of times really not easy at all. In fact, it's quite painful. And I lived through my first week long, and I'm like, yes, I did it, and I thought, am I ever going to go back again? And about 3 months later, I'm like, I got to do that again. I have got to do that again. There's some things that this man said that I did not get, and I want to have that experience and be in that again.
Yeah.
And so, and I've had a lot of people just by the very fact that I just keep going back.
Mm.
are like, well, what do they do there? Tell me what goes on. Why do you do this? And again, it's like, how do you describe that? And this is my description: mystical, miraculous, life altering, and mind bending. And that's about the best I can tell you. And of course, they're like, it's kind of like, describing, like, I've gone to the moon, and then you try and describe what the moon looks like. We're back to metaphor, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because they haven't had the experience. Now,
Mhm.
what's true is, thank goodness, they released a documentary called Source.
Yep.
It's within you. And now it's released and recently released in many venues that you can, look this up and you can watch it. And basically, it's a documentary about Dr. Joe's work, the science behind it, because they've got a lot of documentation, a lot of science. And keep in mind that that's like 2 years old, 3 years old. And they
Yeah.
just keep documenting and having more science to back up, the effects of meditation um, on, like, literally every system in your body.
Oh yeah.
And to your point, you were saying, well, surely I can, create the enzyme that, stops this lactose intolerant stuff. And
Yeah.
what they're finding recently is that, and they're testing this, is that if you tell your brain, hey, I want to produce more of whatever,
Hmm.
and they, you know, about 99% of people's brains will go ahead and produce it.
Yeah.
And meditation. And they have this backed up with data because they test people's bloods before you go into the week long, and then after. It's like, these people have these drugs in their blood. Your
Mm.
brain can literally make anything, 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 including psilocybin. And that's the one that I find very
Mm.
interesting. Is like, early on, they're like, the scientists are going, we're kind of confused here. I mean, everybody in a week long, they start becoming really relaxed. The energy gets really good. They're able to meditate better. We're seeing all these spontaneous healings, like bing.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and so again, they test people's blood that volunteer for before and after. And what they learned early on is, like, Dr. Emil Patel said, everybody's on mushrooms. And it was like, no, nobody's on mushrooms. Our body was actually making a natural psilocybin.
But
And
was it what was it? Dimethyltryptamine? Was it DMT? I don't remember.
psilocybin is what's the active ingredient in your mushrooms.
Right, right. I know. Yes, I know about psilocybin. I just didn't know the human body can make. Well, because I remember in Source in the documentary it talks about that where the guy's like, "Wait, is everyone on mushrooms?" Like I remember that. I just didn't remember psilocybin itself being found in the blood. But I do know our bodies can make DMT,
They can,
which is even stronger. So
they can make anything. Okay. They
yeah,
can literally make anything that can heal the body. Uh, Seriously. And they're getting more and more into that. The science is getting deeper and deeper. But
yeah,
like, the Source had, had what they had at the time that they made that documentary, and some amazing, amazing healings. And of course, one of the things they realized, the study has gone on that psilocybin will do in the brain is, like, a lot of people live in fight or flight mode and in
mhm,
constant stress. And they replay old tapes in their head of, you know, things in their life that were, quite awful sometimes.
yeah,
Everybody's been betrayed. Everybody's, had bad experiences. Everybody, I mean, you know, it's just horrible, some of the things that happen. And we get in these loops in our brain of replaying it over and over again. And that actually makes you sicker, better, rather than more well. And they started realizing that psilocybin kind of dampens that. And all of a sudden, that voice in your head that goes, Well, don't get too comfortable here. Remember how, such and such happened back in your life. And that's one of the things it does is it starts dampening that, shuts down the fight or flight response, as does meditation. Going into a meditative state is one of the reasons why people start healing, because it will shut down that fight or flight response in your body that your body's been living in for who knows, sometimes 50 years, right? This depends on who you are. And your body will not heal when it's in fight or flight because it's getting ready to fight or fly, right? It's in a stress mode. And so when these things start shutting down, all your body goes, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And, and all of a sudden people start healing. Sometimes instantaneously. Sometimes slower over time. Sometimes just like bam, like lightning strikes. So yeah, I mean, in my own words, describe a doctor to spend a week long, and I just did. You'll get a much broader picture of the work they do and what we do in a week long. If you just look up Source, it's within you, and it's a documentary. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's a good one. And I was also going to ask you too, so what are some experiences you've seen with other people too, as far as healing, just to give people a broader aspect of how, like how powerful how powerful is meditation? I guess we want to give people the biggest aspect we can. So what are some other experiences you've seen with people at these week-long retreats?
Other than my own, I mean, it's like, initially, in the beginning, stage 4 cancers, all these different cancers and everything. I've seen people come up and talk about, their transformation. You can call it a testimony, but what it really is and what they call it is a transformation, because they have literally transformed from who they used to be to who the healed person is now. And I mean, I saw a woman stand up there who literally healed herself from stage 4 cancer. She had cancer all throughout every organ, every part of her body that was the size of like boiled eggs and such.
Yeah. Wow.
And she actually just started reading Becoming Supernatural. She was some kind of, she was really, really educated. And so this made sense to her, right? The science of it all makes sense to her. It's like, so she just started practicing. She started healing herself without ever even coming to a week long. So there's that. But she did come and talk on the stage. And I think she is like a nuclear physicist or something like that.
Wow.
There, super educated woman. And she healed herself of this cancer. And healing cancers has almost become like it's the norm. We just expect it to happen in our community. If you want to heal your cancer, then, go for it. We expect that to happen. But recently what's been interesting is what I'm calling it now becoming the new normal, people regrowing body parts.
Oh, yeah.
That you didn't think that could happen, right? You can't, well, okay, you can dissolve all these tumors, but can you regrow your thyroid? And this woman had her thyroid surgically removed. And through meditation and with the intent of having her thyroid come back, it literally regrew.
Yeah, I remember watching that video because I think you emailed it to me. I've seen it a few times. I've sent it to a lot of people.
Source as well. She's one of the people that is in Source.
Okay.
MLS, people getting out of wheelchairs. I think the one that just really blew us all away, and Dr. Joe claims he's still going, what in the heck happened there? This woman regrew her colon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You told me about that one too.
Yeah, she had colon cancer. Well, she was diagnosed with colon cancer. They later found out that she really didn't, but they went and they surgically removed a good portion of her colon anyway, and she was living off of a bag. And to make a long story short, she was like, all right, I can't live like this. I can't live like tied to a bathroom where I can only leave like my bathroom 15 minutes. So she started, listening to Dr. Joe's YouTube videos, reading the books, anything that she can. And she's like, I can do this. I can do this. That woman literally regrew her colon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she's got all the documentation to prove that. So I mean, what I've seen, I saw a woman who at one of the Cancun retreats is blind. She was literally legally blind. All of a sudden starts seeing. It's like, whoa. At one of the retreats I was at. So, it's amazing. And not to mention all the other retreats that happened that I'm not at, where things happened.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You can see many, 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 many stories of transformation
Mm-hmm.
from the Dr. Joe community.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, to me, it's starting to make more sense science-wise. Not that I'm no scientist, but it makes more sense to me now that I've seen my own experiences, I've heard others, that to me, it actually seems natural that our bodies would be doing all this. But what's happened is we, as a human race, we get so stressed and we're eating food we probably shouldn't, and we like all our so much stuff is toxins, and we're stressing over all sorts of stuff. We're coming up with these stories, and we've grown to believe that we as humans we can't do XYZ, and we have these man-made limitations within our brains that we're taught from a young age. But then we get older and we start seeing miracles like this. So like for me, what opened my eyes, because as I grew up, like I would pray, I'd do all the, because I grew up in the Mormon church, and so I'd pray, I'd do all that stuff, which is good. But then I became a Mormon missionary, and at 19 I went out and we would do what's called blessings. For those who don't know anything about the Mormon church, you basically do what Jesus would do. You lay your hands on someone's head, you'd say whatever you channel. Basically, you're saying whatever you think God is telling you at that point. And then I started seeing people like that, and this is the same idea as meditation. Really, it's just people kind of assisting you, but it's similar to a group healings you do with multiple people. But so I had a lady that, like, she had just got spinal surgery, I think the week that I met her, and she was told, hey, we saved your life, but you can't walk. You won't be able to walk for the rest of your life. You'll be paralyzed. And her son was actually there helping this poor woman. So when I first met her, she was in a mix of emotions where she was very happy she'd be alive, but she's very distraught that she would spend the rest of her life with her son wiping her butt and carrying her everywhere and pushing her wheelchair. So she was very, like, I remember her crying and being happy, and it was very just hard for her. But then I offered, I said, hey, do you want us to just give you a blessing? And so we did. And sure enough, I went, I got busy with helping other people, but I saw her like maybe a month or two later, and she was in a walker, learned to walk in, and she was like overjoyed. She's like, guys, I'm learning to walk in. Like, I'm not paralyzed anymore. And it happened all since you guys gave me that blessing. And so that was just the first thing I saw. And then I saw people with blood issues. We did the same thing, gave them a blessing. And then all of a sudden, by the next week, they're taking only half their medications. And then a few months later, there was a lady with stomach issues. We give her a blessing. Her stomach issues are gone. And then to cap it off, there's a lady with, just like you were talking about, who had stage 4 cancer. And she started meeting with Mormon missionaries. And then she's like, and she just accepted, she's like, I'm going to die soon. I'll just be baptized, follow Jesus Christ, receive blessings, whatever. So she did the whole thing. And then all of a sudden I remember some people telling me about it, and they said the doctors were like astonished because they had like unplugged computer, plug it back in, because they were amazed that her cancer was gone. So it's been cool to have these experiences. And not to mention, for me, it's like my healing experiences, along with, like, I've astral projected from meditation. I've left my body. I've had visions. I've had times where it's like I meditate, and like sometimes I even open my eyes and I still have open-eyed like visuals. And so, like, seeing geometric patterns and stuff. And so to a lot of people, this seems crazy because mankind has gotten used to hearing the stories that we're not capable of such miraculous things, but we actually are. We just forgotten about it. And so that's why I really want to do a podcast like this too. And that's why I have books like this where they talk about my experiences. That's why I wrote my book, Stop Waiting for Heaven, because I was like, I think I started writing, I was like 21. And I was like, especially I think it was after I left my body. I was like, okay, I've had way too many crazy experiences in my life at a young age to not write this down and tell people about this, because this is nuts. And I've still had more since then. So it's been really cool. Yeah. Let's see. So I guess my final question is, what would you What would you share with people who maybe they're listening to this right now, or they've just began meditating, or maybe they still think this kind of woo-woo? What would you tell people to help them get them started if they're interested in doing meditation, or maybe they're interested in Joe Dispenza?
Well, what I have to say is everybody thinks that they can't do it, right? That's usually, oh, I can't meditate. My brain is too active. My brain does this. My brain does that. Whatever. And that is a belief system right in and of themselves. They've already told themselves they can't do it. Rather than go, I'm going to do this. And, the reality of it is, they even got documentation amongst the Dr. Joe community, people who wander in, a week-long event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are husbands that have been drug in, right? The wife, I'm going to do this. And he goes, okay, honey, let's do it. Not even knowing what he's getting into. But, what they found is they take and they map the brain. When people start meditating, what happens with your brain and which levels of, is your brain going down into? And there is a certain level between theta and delta that you're actually trying to achieve in relaxation, because then you access your subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And, people who meditate a lot, it's quite common for them to like, okay, I can do this because I've been doing it for a while. But what they also found, which was really fascinating, is that even though they have never meditated before, after the end of a week long, the beginner's brain started looking like the experienced meditator's brains. It's like, it was like, whoop, it's what the reality is if you tell yourself you can't do it, you won't be able to. If you tell yourself you can, just work on it. And what's true is everybody's brain talks to them. It's a chatterbox. We call it the monkey. It jumps here, it jumps there. And the whole point of it is you don't pay attention to the monkey. You just keep going like, okay, you go over there and keep coming back to that space that you're looking for, where you clear your mind. And, there is no bad meditation, according to Dr. Joe. It's just you getting over you, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just making the effort to invest in yourself. And I would just say, don't give up, because ultimately this is an investment in you. And, if you are not going to show up for yourself, nobody else will.
Yeah.
They will not. This is you getting over you and showing up for yourself. Just keep practicing it. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get pissed off. I've taken my headphones off and thrown them across the room before, I've gone through it all. I've had temper tantrums. I had wonderful experiences. I cry, throw my headphones down, but I never stop. I keep going. And like I said, I started small, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But I did it every day. And I see it as an investment in myself. I know where I was. I know where I came from. And I know how much better I am now. Now, is it work? Oh yeah. But just don't give up. Keep doing it every day, and start off with 15 minutes a day, then go to 20. Then go to 25. I mean, you could either do it on your own. I mean, I started doing these meditations without any kind of guidance at all. I just read the book, kind of like followed it, told myself what to do. And like, no music, no nothing. And now I do a lot of, Dr. Joe's guided meditations. I have them on my phone, some with music, or just meditate just to music, whatever. But I'd say, don't give up. Invest in yourself. Show up for yourself. You're the most important investment you'll ever make in this life. A lot of people don't realize that. They just don't realize that.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because for me, yeah, it's been cool because in the past couple of years, I've never really. So I know Joe Dispenza's like your guy. I've never stuck with like one person. So I've done at this point, I've done a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations. I haven't been to a retreat yet. I want to, but I've done a lot of his meditations. I started out doing just very simple, like paying attention to my breath, and that has been very helpful. I've done Wim Hof, his breathing techniques. I've done Alan Watts guided meditation. So I've done every type of meditation you can think of, and it's cool because no matter what method you begin with, at least in my mind, no matter what method you start with, it comes down to the same thing of getting out of your own head, getting out of your own stories about how you can't do this, can't do that, too weak, too dumb, whatever. And you get out of your own head, away from your own thoughts, and you calm your body and your mind down enough that your body starts to heal, which it's naturally supposed to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's what's been cool is like because I've done so many different techniques, I've seen the underlying like similarities of everything. I'm like, oh, okay, this is all doing the same thing. But yeah, like I remember when I started, all I did was, and I still do this, I try and do it every day, but I do the very simple, like if I'm breathing in through my nose, I say in my head. If I'm breathing out, I say out my head. And I just, every time a thought my monkey mind takes me away, I bring it back and I keep coming back to my breath. And then that's something that's been able to help me a lot. And then, and like I mentioned before, I have my book, Stop Waiting for Heaven, which is all about the experiences I've had along with how to do simple things like that to help you get into the present moment. So that's available on Amazon. But
I
there
read
was
your
one.
book, by the way. I want to say I read your book and I loved it. I
Thank
loved
you.
it. I really, really did. I thought, wow, how cool that somebody this young is getting it. He's actually getting it. Don't wait till you're 70.
Yeah.
Do it now. I mean, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. And I'll also, before we close, one more thing I want to add too. This is something I discovered somewhat recently in the past few months. And I don't know if you've seen anything about this. So do you know what like dissociative identity disorder is, or like multiple personality disorder is what it used to be called?
Yeah.
So there's been interesting studies that I've read where you have someone who has multiple personalities, and Dispenza says your personality is your personal reality. And one personality will have diabetes, another personality won't, and they'll have different diseases and so on and so forth. No matter how many personalities you got, they'll have different things. And so like I read that a few months ago, and I was like, oh, this is even more evidence to the fact that a lot of these things are actually caused by stories we have, the stories we've been told growing up, and then we keep repeating those same stories. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I have diabetes. Oh, or what I'm working on right now, scoliosis. And so, which has healed dramatically so far since I've been a kid. But anyway, we have these like stories in our head that start to manifest into physical symptoms. And so changing the story, then we can start to change even the physical symptoms that are there. And so so I read that. I was like, wow, this is even more evidence to point to the fact that it's actually something we can overcome, we can heal through. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I actually read about that too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's one of the things that, it's like, it's amazing. It's really amazing what we're capable of doing that we have been conditioned to believe that we cannot.
Yeah. Yep.
And, I mean, a lot of people are fans of Jesus, Christians. Hey, I love Jesus Christ. I'm a big fan, right? But, the message that I get from him, and he said it very clearly, these things I do, you will do also, but greater. And I'm like, he's not telling me that he's coming here to save me. What he's telling me is I can save myself.
Yeah.
I can do this. To me, that is his message. And I'm one of his biggest fans.
Yeah.
And there are other high frequency teachers out there. I mean, probably Jesus is the most popular, I guess.
Yeah.
2,000 years. But yeah, and breath work. Yeah, I love it. And I've gone to and continue to go to like Greg Braden events.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a guy that comes along with him, Christian Minson, who does integrative breathing techniques. And I've done that. And he was a Buddhist monk for 10 years. He's not anymore, but I find that good. I mean, breath work is something. I mean, it helps release, tension, negative energy in the body.
Oh, definitely.
Helps, it has a healing modality in and of itself. If we quit breathing, we croak, but most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't. I mean, that's another actual fact. You don't always have to, but anyway, yeah, I'm into
Yeah.
other, what I call high vibrational teachers as well. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is, they're all saying the same thing in a little bit different way. But I like hearing it. I like, oh, okay, now I get that becomes clearer to me. But
Yeah.
to me, there's nothing more important to do with my life for me is to invest it in myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's why now I've had this podcast, the Conscious Health podcast, along with my books. Basically, just about all of them are about health or some type of self-help mentality in some way or another. Because to me, this is, like you said, this is the most important thing there is investing in yourself, investing in your health, and showing really all mankind, everyone that's on earth right now, that hey, we have the ability to heal ourselves. We have the ability to be happy. We have the ability to throw away medications and to be able to heal, regrow organs and whatnot. I mean, there's a time and place for certain things, but ultimately that should be the goal, is that we can overcome the different things that we've actually done to ourselves and we just don't realize it yet. So it's amazing.
Yeah. You're greater than you think, you're more powerful than you know, and you're more unlimited than you could ever dream.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. Cool. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thank you everyone for listening to the Conscious Health Podcast. And I got my book out, Stop Waiting for Heaven. You can get on Amazon. Deb, is there anything else you wanted to add before we close the podcast?
Thank you for inviting me to join you in this. Love you, kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love you too. Thank you. Cool. All right. Well, I'll stop recording then. Cool. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
Bye.
Cool. Love you. We'll see you.